Alright guys, here we are back on NR2003, and this is going to be the start of a new series. Since NR2003 is alive and well even 17 years after its release, there are more and more people trying out Papyrus' Sim for the first time. Since I have a good amount of familiarity with the quirks of driving NR2003, I wanted to share some tips I have for success behind the wheel. Now of course, I'm no sim racing expert. Many of you longtime NR2003 drivers probably going to be rolling your eyes at me, but for any beginners out there, I hope you gained something from these videos. Today, we're going to keep things simple and start with the basics. Now, I'm not going to baby you with any out stuff, as I assume you're coming into this with some knowledge of racing, but I will let you know that for the sake of these videos, I am using the Thrustmaster T150 on the default Cup Series and tracks that come with NR2003 with no assists enabled. Now, getting started with a sim that has been around for so long can be daunting, so we'll just start with the basics. I enjoy Rockingham, North Carolina as a track for my testing on NR2003, so I'm going to jump into a testing session there. When starting out, I highly recommend running the default fast setups that come with the game, and just leaving the garage alone for now. As you gain experience, you're going to be able to understand what changes you need to make on the setups. Also, every time I launch NR2003, I make sure that I calibrate my wheel and pedals to ensure they are properly working. You're going to find a link to the settings that I prefer in the description of this video. Once you're ready, it's time to get out on the track. Be nice and gentle with your inputs as you pull out of the pits. You're going to notice that your car is pulling to the left. This is normal. Oval cars are designed to turn left, so they're set up offset in this way. You can just correct yourself on the straightaways by turning a little bit to the right. In NR2003, you don't need to use the clutch to shift if you don't want to. You can actually just quickly lift off of the throttle and shift up, and this will not damage the transmission. This means that you're able to easily left foot brake in NR2003, something that is very useful and important when tackling most corners. Now on to the hard part. From what I've seen from many forum posts throughout time, many new NR2003 drivers seem to struggle with the car wanting to spin out on corner entry. Even when braking and slowing down to a reasonable speed, the back end of the car wants to spin around. This is because driving an NR2003 is heavily dependent on your management of the shifting weight of your car. Whenever you're driving at full throttle, more weight is over the back end of the car, which gives the rear tires more grip. But as you slow down, the front of the car drops as you lose speed. More weight is shifted over the front tires, and now the front tires have more grip and the back tires have lost some of their grip. With less grip at the back end, the rear of the car can very easily rotate and put you into a spin. To manage this in NR2003, your feet, or fingers if you're using a controller, need to be very active on the gas and brake pedals to try and keep the car from over-rotating. A simple way I like to think about this is that less input on the gas pedal means the car will be more off balance and more likely to oversteer, rotate the back end. More throttle is going to help balance the weight of the car and it'll make it tighter where you'll have more understeer. With this in mind, personally, I'm almost never completely off the throttle in NR2003. Rather, I'm making very small adjustments on the gas and brake as I make my way through the corner. Even at larger tracks where you probably won't be braking much, I find that it upsets the car a lot to go completely off of the throttle. It's tough to master, but you will find the car much easier to control when you feel comfortable making these micro adjustments on the throttle and brake. After getting the car slowed and turned in, you need to be able to jump back to full throttle as soon as possible to carry the speed off of the corner. Try not to hit the outside wall. On most corner exits, as the banking of the turn flattens out towards the straightaway, the car can sometimes feel floaty or oversteery. Thus, I find it really helpful to be ready, even pre-countersteer to the right a little bit, just to make sure you've got the car under control. NR2003 can be a really quirky sim that takes some getting used to, but I highly recommend that you pay close attention to what is happening with the car as you run laps. Be ready to reflect on what happened, make adjustments, really get used to the sounds that the tires are making, and adjust your driving if you're scrubbing speed or sliding. If you spin out, think about what was going on with the car before that happened and be ready to adjust for next time. Again, I'm no expert when it comes to NR2003, but I feel fairly confident in my ability to navigate the track safely. Well, sometimes.
Here comes the leader.
Every sim racing tutorial is going to preach this, but it's true in NR 2003 as well. It's all about practice, practice, practice. If you need further help, there's actually some awesome driving tutorials that are already in NR 2003. I highly recommend taking a look at those as they cover some of the concepts I talked about in this video. I know this tutorial was fairly basic, but I hope to make more videos in this series going forward, talking about more complex things like racing with the AI, setups, stuff like that. But I think a good starting point is just how to safely navigate the track. If you guys are new to the channel, it would be much appreciated if you could subscribe. Hope you did enjoy this and that you take something from it. If you'd like to add anything, definitely drop a comment down below. Really appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next race.